Hi, everyone, and good morning or good afternoon or good evening, wherever you're tuning in from. So great to be with you today. I am Gabe Smith, CCXP, and I'm the content manager and associate director for the Customer Experience Professionals Association, or CXPA. Want to welcome you to one of our final live broadcasts of 2021. Hard to say that, hard to believe that this year, for me at least, has gone by so quickly and yet so slowly all at once. I suspect that it's probably the same for many of you. So excited to see that you're joining us today. As always, I want to learn where you're tuning in from. Tell me where you are in the world. And today is also about celebrating CX accomplishments. So if you've got a CX accomplishment or a personal accomplishment that you want to share in the comments, love to hear from you. Would love to share that with the global CX community. So let me know where you are tuning in from today. We have these quarterly broadcasts with our global partners in advancing CX Awards International. I love doing these broadcasts. We have had some really fantastic conversations, explorations of innovation, with CX professionals from around the world. We've discussed CX successes, and we're going to do that today. Today's a little bit more of the same, but it's also going to be a little bit different because we are very excited. In a moment, I'll welcome the customer experience team at Knight Frank, who recently were the overall winner in Awards International's UK CX Awards. They took home a total of 6 awards, which is phenomenal. We're going to hear about their successes, but we're going to be doing it a little bit differently. They're going to share their actual presentation, one of their actual presentations that they gave at the UK Awards. So you're going to get a sense of what an award-winning entry, what award-winning CX actually looks like and sounds like. So really excited to get that conversation started. Also excited to see your comments, and I want to welcome you. We have Vianney tuning in from Chile, one of my favorite places to visit in the entire world. We have Neil tuning in from Edinburgh. We have Lauren tuning in from London. We have Satya tuning in from New Jersey. Great to see you. We have Danilo tuning in from Serbia. We have Argentina. Agostina tuning in from Argentina. We have Muhammad tuning in from Vienna. Great to see, as always, the global diversity of the CX professional community tuning in. Love to see that. Again, today's all about celebrating accomplishments. So if there's an accomplishment that you were excited to share with the community, want to see that here. So, going to introduce our friends at Knight Frank. And after their presentation, I'm also going to be joined by Lorraine Schumacher, CCXP. Excited to be joined by Lorraine because she's going to give you a sense of what it's like to serve as an awards judge. She's going to join me for some Q&A. And you're going to get a chance to ask your own questions too. So these programs are always more successful and more engaging when we hear from you, when we hear your questions as well. So make sure to use the comments. We may feature your comment. Let's get started. I am excited to welcome the team at Knight Frank. I'm going to read their bios. And I'm going to bring them in. So we've got 3 guests from the Knight Frank team today. We're going to welcome John Rockel. He is the head of strategy and operations at Knight Frank. John is a board member who's responsible for developing the strategy and improving the operations of the business. As part of his role 5 years ago, he steered the CX strategy to set Knight Frank apart in a sector that has a poor CX reputation. So this was launched in 2018 as a comprehensive CX program that has transformed their business. And prior to Knight Frank, John has worked in banking, mining, and manufacturing firms. We're also going to welcome Enna Khan, the head of CX at Knight Frank Residential. Enna focuses on creating differentiated customer experiences at Knight Frank. She's worked across different sectors, including John Lewis and Amazon. Now at Knight Frank, where she and her team supported the firm to win, as I said, 6 CX awards, including the overall CX winner at the UK CX Awards in 2021. We're also going to welcome Kat Draper. She's an internal communications manager at Knight Frank. Kat works with John, Anna, and the residential board to ensure that communications with teams are engaging. We know that's so important to CX. Provides a sense of partnership and highlights the direction of the business. Kat began at Knight Frank 3 years ago as communications lead for the CX program, and later implemented what she learned into the wider internal comms strategy. So, so excited to welcome Anna, Kat, and John to the program. Welcome to you all.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
So great to see you all here. Excited to learn more about your CX initiatives at Knight Frank. Would also love to learn, before we get started, I know you've got a presentation for us, and we're going to dive into that, but would also love to learn, why was award recognition for you and the efforts that you've had over the past years so important to the team, and what made you decide to enter these awards? So I don't know who wants to take that one.
Oh, Gabe, I'll start on that one and jump in, Anna and Kat. But well, for us, as you said, it was a 5-year journey, and we wanted to set ourselves apart and really look at what does great customer experience look like in other sectors. And really the only way we could do that was actually put ourselves up against those brands that we really thought were fantastic when we were starting out on our journey, to see how did we measure up and are we on the right path. So it was that great external sort of validation and to get that. And secondly, and really importantly, for our teams who'd worked so hard over the last few years to really raise our game in terms of customer experience, to have something to really share and recognize all of them, that was really important to us. And it's been a real internal celebration winning these awards.
John, that's fantastic. You mentioned, putting yourself up against those brands that have those positive reputations, to gaining that sense of external validation, and then also the internal, morale boost and celebration that resulted from that. Anna and Kat, anything that you would want to add there?
I think John covered it all for me in that recognizing our teams and rewarding them. Obviously, it's such a key part from an internal comms point of view. But no, that covered everything. Yeah. Thank you, John.
Fantastic. Well, excited to dive in. Excited to learn more. I understand you've got the presentation to share. So I'm going to turn the presentation over to you and your team. Bring the presentation up on the screen. And again, give our audience a sense of what this is actually like. So we're going to hear from some questions after the presentation, but be thinking of your questions as well to the viewers. Make sure you get those into the comments box. But team, going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Gabe. So hi, everyone. I'm going to kick off. So yes, as Gabe said, I'm Head of Strategy and Operations here at Knight Frank. And a big thank you from us to CXPA and Awards International for inviting us, and for all you customer experience experts. It's really great to share some of the things that we've been through, and great to hear from you later. So who are Knight Frank? So we offer a broad range of consultancy services in the property sector, residential and commercial. And something we're perhaps known for is those wonderful luxury homes around the world. If you want to see a bit of property porn, as they say, try knightfrank.com. So, but what's really important to us is providing personalized, trusted advice, something that the sector isn't known for. So a little more about Knight Frank. So in 1896, we were established, and that was Mr. Knight and Mr. Frank. Yes, they got together and set up this partnership. And for 125 years, because it is our 125-year celebration, we have remained a partnership. So partners passing on the business to other partners, and therefore the partners who work in the business own the business. And I think that's an important cultural element. So we've grown over the years, though. We've now got 523 offices around the globe, across 60 countries and territories. Our head office has always been in London, and here it is now at Baker Street. But today we're really focused on our residential business here in the UK, which consists of 60 offices, 150 different departments, lots and lots of different services in the residential space, and 1,200 really brilliant people. So that's our focus. So what made us reflect back, given our heritage, on were we going in the right direction? Where were we? Were we going in the right direction for our customers? So back in around 2016, 5 years ago, we had some headwinds, both within our external environment. So we had Brexit in the UK was impacting things. The market had been stagnant for many years. And also we had new entrants into the market from the technology side, offering some really neat things. And this is to a sector that, as Gabe has said, wasn't very trusted, was down the bottom of that list of trusted advisors. So we were confronted with, where are we going to go with this, with all these challenges? So what we needed was to embark on a new direction with our customer experience and really test ourselves. Now, we couldn't do this alone, so we needed some external help. So we went out and found who we thought were the best external advisors. And they took us on a journey for well over a year of trying to really understand our customers and our employees to get the right brand experience. So we looked at lots of other brands. That was really fascinating, looking at what other great brands are doing. We had lots of workshops with our teams, but most importantly, speaking to customers, past customers, current customers, and potential customers, some long interviews and some short surveys to get a real blend of information. Because what we discovered, most importantly, was customers were looking for brands that they really could trust and they actually enjoyed working with. So all of this work led us to our vision. The next slide, please. And that was at the heart of it, to be partners in property. Our customers wanted to trust us, wanted a brand that was personalized, wanted a brand that would help them through this important area in their lives. Often property is people's biggest asset, a big thing, and even in businesses, it's a really important aspect of a business. So partners in property. And the key thing was to get the values right, and we'll talk more about those later. But some of the things I've already mentioned: importance of our knowledge and our insight, the importance of personalization, but also the practical day-to-day stuff of making it as easy as possible to get through this, to be responsive all the time. So this was the principles that we were driving our program forward. So if we move to the next slide. And that led to our objectives, the 3 objectives that were going to drive our program. We wanted to be a leading customer experience brand. As we'd said, our sector wasn't highly trusted. We wanted to set ourselves apart from that and be a leading experience brand in any sector. So that led, as I'm sure all of you on this call will know, delivering exceptional experience at every touch point is so important. So we had to really work on that, which the team will go on to in a minute. And finally, the internal aspects, developing a really customer-focused culture, really getting our people engaged in this and feeling that part of it and wanting to be part of this transformation. And of course, our leadership really supporting this change and transformation. And it really has been transformational for us in lots of quantitative, but some other cultural ways. And this has really helped us during COVID, where we think our cultural change and the way that we support our customers has really, really supported our business. But the key question now, perhaps for you, is great to have a great vision and objectives, but how did we actually make a change? And for that, I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Anna.
Thank you, John. So planning and preparation played a huge part in the success of our programme. Firstly, we identified 6 pillars, which you can see on the slide in those green bubbles, the dark green bubbles. And those really helped us to engage our customers across their entire journey. Then, using the research that John mentioned, our people came up with 51 ideas to really transform our customer experience and put our customers at the centre of everything that we do. One of our hardest tasks was to whittle down those 51 great ideas into our 12 priority projects. And you can see those 12 projects on the slide now. So those are the projects in black. I'm now going to talk a bit about the governance structure. So ultimately, the programme was directed by our residential board, but it was driven through this structure. So the CX exec group, that's our leadership and decision-making group. Then we have our project teams. Our steering groups. Don't forget our project managers who come together to align and collaborate. And then we have our project teams. These are people from across our residential business who help us to shape our projects. And then there's the CX team. So 4 people, including myself, who implement the firm-wide initiatives and drive engagement through communication and different activities. Now, each of these groups meet monthly, and our projects have KPIs and objectives. And those objectives feed into the wider CX programme, and those objectives from our CX programme feed into the wider business objectives. Now, across the last 18 months, we've had to evolve, like all of us have had to, and our projects have had to evolve depending on our customers' needs. I won't go through all of them today, but the Smarter Spaces project is one example where we've had to look at the redesigning of our offices, and we've worked out a CX light specification, and that's helped us to roll this out in a more cost-effective and faster way. If I could have the next slide, please. I want to talk you through how we engaged our people, because I think this is really important, as John mentioned earlier. So we focused on our leaders to begin with. It was absolutely crucial that we had the buy-in and the commitment from our leaders. Once we had our leaders, we then looked at the innovators. These were 70 people from across our residential business who were really they delivered great customer experiences. So we chose them to help us look at how we could exceed our customers' expectations and also change the perception of real estate. It was really important for us that we made or supported our leaders to understand that CX needed to become and remain a priority. And so we have monthly CX leaders meetings where internal and external people come to share their ideas. I know that Chloe from Kantar is somewhere in the audience. She's been to our CX leaders meeting to show insight and context around insight. It's also an opportunity for our leaders to talk about the barriers and challenges that they face in their teams. And most importantly for me, they're able to walk away with practical actions that they could take back to their teams to improve CX and also support their teams. Now, the 3 projects on the previous, there were 12 projects on the previous slide, but 3 of those projects were focused on our people. So things like recruitment and training, awards and recognition, and also coaching focused leadership. All of this helped us to create a culture of really highly engaged people, people who wanted to make sure that our customers were at the forefront of everything that we did. Now, once our projects were in place, we then launched to the rest of our residential business. Our Resi board were very much involved in the day, and we were able to harness more ideas and feedback from our people to help drive our CX programme forward. At the event, we launched our CX app, and this is a 2-way social platform that allows us to hear from our people, but they're also able to pick up information such as project updates. They can share their ideas. We can also celebrate our CX stars, and there's an area there for thought leadership pieces, so articles and that kind of stuff. Now, the event was really successful. There was a lot of excitement. There was a real buzz in the business, and we wanted to ensure that when people left the event, that this energy continued. So we delivered into every single team a CX activity box, and in the box there was a strategy book that outlined, our CX plans, the roadmap, etc. There were some chocolate treats, and also we had some activity cards. And those activity cards were really important because they were linked to our CX values, and it was activities that our teams could do together or individually. They really bring those values to life. Now, as part of the programme, we've also launched a people board where our people can come together to talk about topics that really matter to them. So things like flexible working, diversity and inclusion, really important topics to help our people. And we also wanted to ensure that we recognise people, not just for transactions or fees, but also for the great service. So we launched the awards and recognition programme, and that's a very comprehensive programme. There's four or five tiers to that. There's peer-to-peer thank you cards, There are the Spotlight Awards, which happen throughout the year, and we also have quarterly and annual awards, which are really celebrated. And you can see there a night at the Oscars, so they're really celebrated to make our people feel special. Just before I hand over to Kat, I did want to say that the programme so far, we've invested £4 million in the programme. All of those costs have been expertly scrutinised by our group executive board. And it's been really important to get our people engaged and get our all of these activities activated, which has been absolutely critical. I'll now hand you over to Kat, who will talk about our innovative approach. Thanks, Kat.
Thanks, Anna. Our research told us that as a brand, we were considered a bit elitist. So we had to develop a new tone of voice, how to speak frankly. And it's about focusing less on us and more about what we can do for our customers. We focused on recruiting people from a broader range of backgrounds as well, prioritizing a passion for delivering exceptional experiences rather than just those from the property sector. And we used an innovative personality profile tool called Teak to ensure that we were recruiting for the right values and behaviors. We designed a bespoke experiential training program with blended learning, which in response to the pandemic, we took virtual while ensuring it continued to inspire. But we also adapted it so it focused more heavily on resilience and well-being during this time. We introduced innovative ways to improve every customer journey, from online guides to make processes easy and transparent, to Hello Neighbour guides, digital booklets, providing essential information on your new area. And we also provided personalised welcome to your new home hampers, all of which was in response to customer feedback. We also redesigned our offices, as Anna mentioned earlier, to feel different from other estate agents, to be more welcoming to our clients, more collaborative for our teams, and to play a bigger part in the communities that we serve. From a technology point of view, we're in the process of improving our digital platforms. We've just secured £2.9 million worth of investment to develop a customer portal, which will further support our customers' needs. We also led the way during lockdown, delivering high quality online viewings to give customers the best virtual experience from the comfort of their own sofa. And customers last year wanted to make more informed decisions about their properties, given the uncertainties of the pandemic. So what was our response? Our research team launched our new Intelligence Talks podcast, gaining over 58,000 listeners. We used to get around 50 pieces of feedback a month, sort of historically. Now we receive over 1,000. So what are we doing with all this new insight? We have a CX performance dashboard by department showing our NPS and our customer feedback. And our managers can go through this with their teams to learn and improve. They can reach out to customers and ask what didn't go so well, and then they can put it right. And that information is then shared with the project teams that Anna mentioned to make sure that we're sharing best practice and we're closing that feedback loop. During lockdown, we couldn't continue with our mystery shopping. So we introduced virtual customer panels, which you can see on the bottom of your screen there. We gathered valuable insight on how to improve our customer experiences through these. And they were so beneficial that we're continuing to do them virtually. We're doing them one a month, and we're focusing on getting people's insights on our customer panel that we're developing. Creativity and innovation has been threaded through everything we do, from the new office designs to the training, all coupled with cutting edge technology designed to improve our customers' experiences. And we've seen many benefits as a result of our CX strategy, but the biggest change, I think, talking to Anna earlier today, actually, without a doubt, has been the shift in our culture, not just towards our customers, but also how we interact with each other as well. We're living and breathing our values and becoming less corporate, more human and personal. And in fact, our latest employee engagement survey tells us that we are becoming more transparent and open with our employees as well. And our CX values have been so successful within the residential business, they formed the basis of our new set of our global values, which as part of our 125-year celebrations, we're rolling out across all our territories and offices. These new global values on your screen now sit at the heart of Knight Frank, uniting us globally as one firm focused on our colleagues and our customers. In terms of the pandemic, our commitment to partnership has probably never been tested more, but it's really reminded us of what partnership is all about, looking out for each other and looking after each other. And as part of that, we set up a COVID site on our intranet, which included a parents hub, sections on wellbeing, sections on remote working, sharing information between our teams to make sure that our people felt safe and supported. And given everything that the pandemic has thrown at us, we've had a fantastic financial year. Residential income has increased by 8%. And as a result of this, we were able to repay furlough money, reimburse salary sacrifices and commissions, and really importantly, as I touched on earlier, recognizing and rewarding our people, awarding over 150 CX awards to our team members. So let's have a look at the scores on the slide in front of you. Our NPS rose from +38 to a high of +52. 96% of Google reviews were 5-star. Trustpilot has increased from 2.6 to 4.8. Our employee satisfaction with our training is at 96.5% across the board. Their satisfaction with our training team, our L&D team, rose by 10%. And our market share increased from 8.6 to 11%. And referrals and recommendations and registrations into the business have increased. And footfall to our newly refurbished offices increased by 500%. We're extremely proud of the efforts that the whole firm has gone to, and it really has been a whole firm collaboration to support each other, to support our clients, our local businesses, and charities over the last year. And on screen now, just a few of those examples. So the Knight Frank Property Plank: donate £5, plank for 90 seconds, raised over £83,000 for the Land Aid Homeless Emergency Fund and local NHS charities. Our graduates set themselves the challenge of walking, running, or cycling 874 miles virtually from Land's End to John O'Groats. And we introduced various fun social campaigns such as Kids at Home competition, cook-alongs, online yoga, Zen at 10, Pets at Knight Frank, all things to make sure we stayed connected together. But that is enough about us. As you all know, the final word should always be with the customer. And so here's a few of our recent testimonials. It's fantastic to see our people being mentioned by name, and also to see so many of the values that we talked about turned into everyday behaviours that are really coming through in those relationships with customers and are really making the difference. Thank you very much for listening. Gabe, I believe we now have some questions.
First of all, just to the team, I just want to say congratulations on your award win. More importantly, on all of these phenomenal, measurable outcomes that you were able to achieve. Really fantastic to see, inspiring to see. I want to get to some Q&A. I know we have some in the comments. I'm going to bring Lorraine in here in a second. But before I do that, I have one question. I think it's probably the most important question. Where did you get such a wonderful caricature artist for your I have a Christmas now for our CEO Greg.
The funny thing is he came recommended from
it's all about recommendations.
great experiences. So someone recommended him to us, and we love them.
I love that. Thanks for humoring me with that. So I want to bring in Lorraine Schumacher, CCXP, for some Q&A. Just a bit of background on Lorraine. She has advised multiple executives and organizations on improving business results by enabling CX transformations. She's achieved significant success over a 20-plus year history at Verizon within a breadth of disciplines, including the stand-up of their corporate-wide CX program and technology. So Lorraine, welcome to the program. Take you off mute here, Lorraine. Oh, if you could just unmute yourself.
Yep.
Really.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Lorraine.
Hi, Lorraine.
Hello.
Lorraine, great to see you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, phenomenal presentation. I think as a judge, listening to everything that you've pointed out, Awards International is independent, right? So everything we look at is based off of 8 sets of criteria. And you guys just knocked it out of the park on every single piece of criteria, from the written summary to your presentation, to actually some of the Q&A, right? And we'll get to that, Gabe. That's probably the best part of these awards, right? Is that it's not only an initial submission and we go through to get to the finalists, but you as finalists have the opportunity to present live or virtually, and then have Q&A, which really helps us as judges to understand not only do the numbers speak for themselves, but how did you go about accomplishing it? And I think if I would just ask one question, and then Gabe, I'll turn it back over to you. One of the things that I find so striking about what you've been able to do is it has been a true transformation with so many moving parts. And you did mention, project managers, et cetera. But you've hit so many different things. How did you keep that on track throughout the entire transformation? Because that's critical for success.
Mm-hmm.
Anna, do you want to take that?
Yeah, no, you're looking at me. Yeah. How did we keep it on track? I mean, the governance structure really helped us to track our progress, to ensure that we understood how to fix things really quickly and to adapt to our customers' needs. So having that sense of accountability, I think, was really important, because we were seeing our CX exec regularly, and then the steering team would also meet regularly. And everyone was just really, the appetite was there. Everyone was really engaged. And I think it was ensuring that people really knew what our goals were and communicating that across the firm, so that it was everyone was contributing to the bigger mission, if you like. And then you have the kind of the admin side of it, keeping a track of it, making sure things are moving along, so that if you go to a meeting and you're saying the same thing again, you ask why and what's going on. And of course, with CX professionals, we're really reliant on lots of other departments supporting us. So it's having an understanding of lots of different priorities within the business. I mean, Kat and John know that. Lots of different priorities, and being able to confidently explain and share why that priority will make a difference to our customers and to our business.
Yeah.
And if I can jump in there, I think Anna's point there about leadership being involved was absolutely key. We sort of had almost fanatical levels of excitement in the leadership, and that's so important, because we all know this isn't a sprint. It's, we've said it's a 5-year journey so far, but it's certainly an ongoing journey. We're not at the end of anything. So having that passion at the top means that, when things do, when we have to reevaluate a project and we look at, how do we improve this? How do we evolve this for the pandemic? How do we evolve this for our business? Then it keeps going. The momentum stays there. I think that's really important. And I think also the thing that I think John and Anna and the team did really well, that perhaps, if I may say, hadn't happened across other projects before at Knight Frank, is that complete clear vision of what we were trying to achieve and why. It wasn't just here's a project, we're going to deliver it, engage with it. The real benefit it was going to bring to the teams, taking them on that journey before we started making all those changes, then made the rest of it possible. So yeah, starting that change journey in a really strong manner with our teams helped.
Yeah, that is fantastic. And sort of building off of that, you talked about the passion and the I think you used the word fanaticism of your leadership for rolling this out. I mean, that was sort of really evident in the leadership launch activities. But John, I want to go back a little bit further, because you've been working on this for a long time, and so I'd love to learn a little bit more about what did leadership support for this culture change initiative look like at the very start? Was this fanaticism there, from the very beginning, or how did you build sort of this case for change?
Yeah. It's thinking back 5 years, Gabe. I guess we were lucky in that our sort of CEO of residential did buy into it, but I think it did take some while. I mean, Kat's absolutely right. We had leaders in the long run who got them, but some were questioning it, and perhaps there was a sense that we could just tweak a few things, because actually we weren't in the property sector, we weren't terrible. But I think when we really looked at our business and said, what do we want to be? because we are being challenged, and I'm sure this is the case in many countries with online competitors and stuff, and let's make this business cheaper and cheaper. And but there are people, they're dealing with their biggest asset, who want to be really looked after, and who want to pay to be looked after by experts, and we just weren't making enough of that. And I think when we recognized that, I think people came on board. But it had to always, as Anna said, there had to be clear business metrics in the original plan, which I think we put forward in January of 2018 and launched in May 2018 to get the executive board approval. We had to come up with what impact this would have on the business. So there were the hard metrics there of what we thought. So there was the soft side, but there had to be the practical measures. This was going to, this was going to make a financial improvement as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. That makes so much sense. And I want to come to a question that we have in the comments here. Satya said, I love the complete change you've accomplished. Thanks for sharing with us. Congratulations on the award. How was the rollout launched with all of these activities? So talk a little bit about the rollout and any unique considerations, either from communications or other considerations for that rollout.
I think it was really important to us to not overcomplicate things for our people. And so the rollout it was useful that there were many new things that our people hadn't heard about. So, for example, the CX app, and then the little surprise with the activity boxes. And those activity boxes continued. We did them every quarter. So our teams would get a nice little surprise, and we'd always try to include something really exciting. So we did plant a tree, we did tea boxes, time to talk tea boxes. So lots of exciting things. And the monthly leadership meetings really helped, because it meant that we were then engaging with our leaders, and then they would go back to their teams. And then we had Yammer, which was the social tool, the platform that allowed our people to share all of their different activities that they had done within their team. So it would then inspire other people to go onto Yammer and share what they had done within their team. So it was collaboration across the whole of the country. Anything else to add to that, Kat or John?
I'd just say sorry, go ahead, John.
I was going to say, as Anna's talking, I think a lot of this was self-reinforcing. So, they got the booklet and they got the launch, and then they had the app, and then they got the activity, but they're all talking about the same thing. So if you didn't really like the app, maybe you like the activity card. If you didn't like that, then maybe you like the steering group meeting. So we recognize that people learn and take on things in different ways. Some people love the activity card, some people didn't, but one way or another, we were going to get through to them that we're on this path. And and so I think I think that was something we and our external experts really helped us. We couldn't just say, okay, let's just just keep presenting to them. That's not going to work. The activity cards was interactive, so they could do it themselves in their own way. Other things were more delivering to them, but I think it's that combination that and we were learning along the way, but I think that ultimately made a big difference.
Yeah, thank you for that, and great question, Satya. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about sort of the experience of being involved in these awards. Give me an overview of that. What was your experience, throughout the process, and what advice would you share with other CX professionals who are maybe thinking about entering for an award and making sure that their efforts are recognized in their organizations?
I think I'll take that one. Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I think with advice for anyone thinking about the awards, I would say that it's really beneficial to harness the expertise from across your business to help you with the submissions, because as Lorraine mentioned, there's a written aspect and also a presentation aspect of the submission. So to get the right information that is relevant to the criteria, it's always useful to get lots of different brains on that to support you. I would also say that from a confidence level as a CX professional, having the awards to back you up, if you like. I mean, they're hard work, the awards submission process is hard work, but it's all worth it, because you then have that layer of confidence when you go into a meeting. The expectations from our customers and clients and our people is high. It's even higher because we've got these awards now. So it's easier to have conversations, I think, and a level of influence when you go into meetings, having been shortlisted or won an award. And then finally, I would say that the whole awards process, it is so useful because you get to learn from different brands and different people, different experts. So on the 7th of October, when we did our presentation, we sat in on some other brands and we were able to pick up some ideas from them. So I would say go for it, and it's a great experience.
That is fantastic. And Lorraine, from a judging perspective, love to learn a little bit more about any value that you've realized through the work that you've done.
Oh my gosh, tons of value. So, two things. One, there's the written submission process. So as a judge, it's totally independent. You don't know who else is judging that same category or that same submission. There's very strict criteria that you have to look at in the scoring. Then you get to the live day, as they've mentioned, where you're sitting in a room or you're sitting virtually, and you'll go through 8 or 10 different presentations. You'll score those, but then you also have the opportunity, A, to ask questions, but B, to sit in on things that you're not judging. And there's also some level after the awards and the submissions go in of networking. Where you can reach out. There's actually a lady that I continue to stay in contact with that I actually judged. After that, I've been working with her and getting more feedback and learning more from her on what they did with their program. So not to flood you as a company, but anybody that's on this call that wants to go in and look at their submissions publicly, or to reach out, much like CXPA, we are creating a sense of community here where people can learn from each other. And I think every time I listen to a submission, or I attend a live submission, I'm learning as well as seeing what everybody else is learning from each other.
Yeah. Fantastic, Lorraine. I've learned so much from all of you today. This has been phenomenal. Want to thank you for devoting some time, spending some time with us here today.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Right. Okay. So that was phenomenal. Loved hearing from the team. I want to think about the fact that we're coming up on the end of 2021, as I said. We're preparing to welcome in 2022. It's really a time to reflect on the past, prepare for the future. To do that, I would like to welcome 2 special guests who are no stranger to this program, and that is Greg Melia, CAE, the CEO of this Customer Experience Professionals Association, and Neil Scahill, the CEO of Awards International. Welcome to you, Greg and Neil.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Greg, I want to start with you here because we have just heard a really fantastic CX success story of resilience. So I want to get your thoughts as you reflect on the past year. What are some of your key observations?
Yeah, that was just a fantastic presentation. I want to congratulate the winners and the presenters here, the judges, Awards International. And I wanted to really pull out 3 things that are a constant and one thing that is a bit of a change that I think we saw reflected here, that I think reflects on 2021 and gives us guidance for 2022. The 3 things that are constants, as CX professionals, partners. We saw that word at the core of the values chart that was presented, and we see that enacted here with CXPA and Awards International. Every day, CX professionals live that idea of partnership with the rest of their organization. We heard that importance of getting your entire organization in on your awards preparation. And then secondly, as partners with your customers. The second idea is the idea of coming together. That notion when Lorraine was talking about judging and bringing together multiple different perspectives and bringing in the voice of the customer to help your company do better, bringing in the data and the things that are affecting your customers in the real world. How is the pandemic making them think about the property sales? That idea of bringing things together so that we have a better outcome by being informed by multiple perspectives, incredibly important. And then trust and stability. We heard time and time again that people want to be able to trust that data. They want to be able to trust the partner that's working with them. They want to be able to trust the resource. And through that, we also saw a word of stability in there, partners in prosperity, and that's really important for us to think about. How do we help people feel confident and secure and trusted in this time of uncertainty? So those are the three things that I think really come together. And then the part that I think is very different is adaptability. Whether you're thinking about how you're going to actually take somebody on a tour of a property, or you're going to have them do a virtual tour of a property, whether they're coming to the awards ceremony in person or they're participating virtually. How are you going to prepare to have your organization meet those customers' expectations where they are today? And how are you prepared for the fact that your prediction for where they'll be in the future might be very different than what it turns out to be? So there's my, CCXP credit worthy comments.
That was great, Greg. CX professionals are partners. We come together for better outcomes, reinforce stability. Neil, I want to give you a chance to reflect here too, because you and the Awards International team, you've had a chance to celebrate and recognize excellence during a year where I think we all could use some more celebration and recognition. So what are some key themes that you wanted to pull out, you've noticed from those who are really achieving stellar results during this time?
Well, hi, Greg, by the way. I didn't say hello. Hi, everybody, and thanks for inviting me, guys, to join you this afternoon. I like you, Gabe, look forward to these sessions and enjoy them very much. And I'm delighted to see we've got people from all over the world, Colombia, India, Sri Lanka, listening in this afternoon. In 2021, Awards International operated the Gulf Customer Experience Awards in Q1, the Employee Experience Awards in Q2, and the Turkey Customer Experience Awards in Q2. The International Customer Experience Awards and the UK Customer Experience Awards in Q4. And so we've seen maybe 800 case studies of customer and employee experience this year. And whilst, I would echo Greg's comments, that adaptability, we've got to stay on our toes. We're not out of the woods yet with this thing. I want to say in some ways, that thing you touched on, Gabe, that people do want to recognize and reward and bring an element of celebration to their teams. But I also think that it has been a year of CX in many ways, not just the 10th anniversary of the CXPA, but also, we had record entries into the International Customer Experience Awards, 400 entries, 300 finalist presentations. And we spoke to the Guinness Book of Records, who told us it is some sort of record in terms of the event. So it's been amazing from the point of view of organizations putting their best foot forward. But I also think that there's something particular about those kinds of organizations. And all over the world, I want to say, what we've seen is, and I think Knight Frank actually embodied this, is something about employee experience. Now, they are clearly a strong team. They ooze teamwork. And for me, I've seen this in many of the entries, that people have been getting to their customers through employee experience because, they have been dealing with remote teams. And that is so much different from working in the call center, working in the, the outlet, the realtor, as in Knight Frank. And I think that what I've read and what I've seen is one is that people have been really, really listening, and they have been putting in mechanisms to listen to their employees. BT, British Telecom, they had a major problem with support for customers. It had all changed, so they had to introduce new ways to support their remote field teams who weren't coming into the office, weren't getting briefings. they were having major problems with customers. So they listened and they acted on what they heard, and they continued to engage. And when I'm thinking about continue to engage, what I've also seen is people going an extra mile, as far as sending round therapists to people's houses to support them, going and doing field visits to people's houses to support them, to make sure they have the equipment, to make sure that they're happy, not just trying to do it virtually, but also bringing in elements like that. So I've just seen tremendous initiatives with regard to going through the employee, the significance of the employee experience in many, many countries, and without exclusion, Middle East, Turkey, Europe, the United States. We've had a lot of interest in the awards for the United States this year. It is phenomenal to see.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Neil. And to both of you, thank you for great reflections on 2021. And I know we have just a couple minutes here, so I wanted to ask you, looking ahead to 2022, Greg, I want to start with you. What are you excited about in the coming year?
Yeah, what I'm excited about is that this last year has been this wonderfully pivotal time for customer experience. We've seen an explosion in interest in applications to these award programs. We've seen an explosion in the number of people seeking their certified customer experience professional certification and job postings that are looking for CCXPs. And we've seen some great volunteer consensus work to help come together and define standards and practices, definitions that will be used to help guide customer experience. So what I think I'd like to see happen for 2022 is for each of us that is participating in this call is to think about how can we measure ourselves and come together to make sure that we're continuing to do two things. One, measure ourselves and do better. Find ways to make sure that the work that we're doing are the right things and is delivering the right results. And then secondly, how do we celebrate what we're getting right? How do we hold up those case studies and those award-winning practices that inspire other people? Because this is a tough time, but if we can all come together and deliver great customer experience, we'll deliver profitability for our organizations, we'll deliver happiness for our customers, and we'll get through this together.
Great thoughts, Greg. And Neil, same question. You mentioned the U.S. Interest in the U.S. awards. I imagine that's a point of excitement for you heading into 2022 as well.
Sure. Well, we're just incorporated in the U.S. and Vuk, our regional manager for North America, is working hard. He's engaged lots of our wonderful colleagues in the US already as ambassadors and so on. So I'm sure that will be in June in 2022. But there's a lot more going on than just the CX world. We've got, I went to Expo 2020. It's called Expo 2020. It was delayed a year. I went to Expo 2020 last week for 3 days. I was in Dubai. And I have to tell you, if you get the chance to go, it's open till March next year. It is a phenomenal event. It's a phenomenal experience. And if you haven't been to the Middle East and you haven't been to Dubai, you should try and go, because it is a new world. As we all pivot east a bit, it is a great insight into the future of our world. And interestingly, the overall winner for the International Business Excellence Awards was a pavilion of the Dutch Dubai organization. The consulate of the Netherlands operated that. And we're going to be doing some live broadcasts from there, all being well, in the new year. But I'm also looking forward to Qatar. Qatar 2022 is, they have been dying to get on the international scene. The Middle East has changed the game in terms of customer experience. And that's why I talk about Expo 2020. It's a phenomenal experience. And Qatar, we've got a lot of concerns there, but they are, as with other countries in the Middle East, they're moving into the 21st century. And when they get going, they'll take off and they'll teach us all a thing or two as well. So there's a lot there. There's a lot going on in 2022. So
fantastic. Neil, Greg, So excited to have you with us. Looking forward to accomplishing great things together in the coming year.
Absolutely. I
Thank you, Gab.
agree with you more. Yeah,
Thank
thank
you,
you
Gab.
very much.
Take care to you both. Okay, phenomenal. So thank you for joining us today. If you are interested in learning more, as Neil said, about the U.S. Customer Experience Awards, check out usacxpa.com. And we hope that you will join us. We have one more broadcast this year on Monday, December 20th at 1 p.m. Eastern. We are going to be talking with Bruce Temkin, CCXP, the head of Qualtrics XM Institute. He's going to be discussing some of his key research findings from this year, as well as some of his predictions for 2022. You won't want to miss that conversation. So from all of us at CXPA, we hope you have a great week. We hope you're having a happy and a healthy holiday season, and we hope to see you soon. Take care, everyone.